Welcome to the Artist Academy podcast. Andrea Earhart here, muralist, adventurer, and your host as I interview inspiring artists who are killing it in the art game to show you that it's completely possible to make a great living doing the thing you love to do. We highlight the business side of art to help you reach more customers, increase profits, and ultimately live a life of creative freedom. Enjoy the show. This episode is sponsored by the Mural Master Program inside of the Artist Academy Advanced membership. This program is specifically designed to help you with every step of the mural process, from coming up with an idea to finding a wall to paint it on to pitching your ideas to businesses, and finally, of course, I teach you exactly how to paint large scale. Murals are a lot of fun and a great way to grow your art business. I know, because it has been one of the top ways that I've been able to grow my own art business as quickly as I have. With several years of experience as a muralist, I've dialed down the painting techniques, the proposals, the pitching, the whole bit. And now I've compiled it into one resource for you called the Mural Master Program. This is included inside of the Artist Academy Advanced membership, and I would love to invite you to join us by going to artistacademy.co, that is artistacademy.co, and click the link to see the Mural Master Program and learn more. And that's it, so let's get on with the show. This week's episode features a calligrapher. Sarah Script, or Sarah Richardson is her real name, but we're going to go with Sarah Script because it's a super cool stage name. She is based in Arkansas and just took the plunge into full-time artistry. Sarah has been practicing the art of copperplate calligraphy for over 6 years now, and you can definitely tell with just a glance at her Instagram page or website. Seriously, go to the link in the notes here. Go check out her everything as you're listening to this episode so you can really see and understand what it is we're talking about, because it's kind of hard to explain, but once you see it, you get it. So go over, check it out. She's at Sarah Script on Instagram. She's done lettering work for people like Gwyneth Paltrow, Martha Stewart. This girl has some skills and patience. She has a lot of patience, and the entire time she was talking about her craft and practicing throughout this interview, I just kept thinking how much patience she has to practice and practice until the lines are perfectly smooth, because you cannot fudge straight lines. They're either smooth or they're not. And her work is not done on the iPad, mind you. It is done with pen and paper. The old-fashioned way, a very special pen, actually, as you'll hear her explain. I'll let her tell you all about that. But this is overall just a really interesting conversation for anyone who's interested in lettering. Or not. I think it can really help us all to be a little bit more well-rounded and learn about all these different specialties and what they're all about, whether it's calligraphy or last week's guest with animation and cartooning. My goal is to let you hear from all these different artists who are doing different things, because you never know. It might inspire you to pick up a calligraphy pen or try something new. So let me know what you think about this week's episode with Sarah Script. I'm excited to hear everything that, like all of your backstory and all that. So let's start with that. Just how you got into how you got into art and just how you got to where you are now.
Sure. Well, I've always kind of been artistically inclined. So my major in college was art history. And then after college, I worked at a financial firm. And like in the afternoons when I would get home, I would actually paint. So I started off painting portraits. and listening to podcasts after work. And that was just, they all went in the dumpster. Like, I don't know where those are anymore. Yeah. And then my friend, a couple years after that, sent me a piece of calligraphy that he had done. And I thought that that was really neat to get mailed something, and to get mailed something physical and so beautiful in this like the time where social media was really ramping up. And so I was like, how did you do this? And he was like, well, I'll send you some pins, and, you know, you can look at these exemplars. At the same time, the financial firm that I was working for had asked me to design an invite for their South by Southwest party. So I was like, what if I incorporated like calligraphy into this? Of course, it was not that great at that time, so we didn't go down that road. But from there, I took a pointed pen class shortly after that, and then just did it as a hobby, really, for like 2 years. I mean, people would pay me for stuff on Etsy, but it was mostly just a hobby. Once I moved to Los Angeles, I started getting more serious about like traditional type of copperplate and like calligraphy work, and it seemed like it kind of got more serious then. But I never I still had like day jobs, and I was going to school at UCLA for graphic design. And so I haven't like ever fully jumped off in the water on myself for myself, until 2 weeks ago.
So exciting.
But even still, I still have like a job that I do some hours at, but anyway, that was a long-winded story. Sorry.
No, that's perfect. When did you move to LA? Are you still there? You said you're in Arkansas right now?
Yeah, so I've jumped around quite a bit. So I was in Austin, Texas for 3 years, then LA for 2 years, then back to Austin for 2 years, and then I just moved back to Arkansas in January to be closer to my family, which kind of worked out. I'm really glad to be close to family right now. So, yeah, I'm not sure that I'll stay here, but it's been nice to be close to them during all of this. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a very lucky move, especially with everything this year.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing calligraphy, did you say? So how long does it take someone to practice to get to the level you're at? That's really what I want to know.
I've been doing calligraphy for 6, maybe close to 7 years now, but I think it's important for people to know that probably just like painting, like you never really arrive, like you never really get anywhere. I mean, you get to maybe a professional level, but there's one of my favorite calligraphers, Joe Bartolo, said that like if he feels like he's ever actually arrived at being, this master penman, then he'll put his pen down and never pick it up again, because it's all about the journey, of really enjoying your art. So
yeah, so true. And I feel there's always something new to learn, and some new technique and just all of that. Okay, so what was the tipping point that took you from hobby to professional in the last couple of weeks? How did that come about?
Coronavirus. So I was working like a 9 to 5 at a stationery store as a graphic designer, and ever since March, my hours keep getting cut and cut and cut. So it's kind of out of necessity, but I'm so glad. Like, it's been an amazing 2 or 3 weeks. Like, it's not very long, but I've just really felt like I'm enjoying doing it. I'm enjoying practice and learning, whereas like after coming home from my day job at the stationery store, I'd feel like kind of exhausted creatively because I was doing so much work for other people. And so I wasn't practicing, and I don't know, there's just like been this resurgence of practice and interest lately. So.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So do you do a lot of wedding stationery? Is that...
I do for the stationery store. I've never, well, no, I have. I designed my sister's wedding invitations. And I've done 3 or 4 weddings, like addressing the envelopes for them. But I'm not sure that that's the road that I want to go down. I think I'm more interested in teaching and creating like individual works of art for people. But I certainly wouldn't say no right now. So.
Yeah, I think that's just where my mind goes when someone says they do calligraphy. I'm like, oh, you do wedding stationery, because that's like the main one that I know of, and because I just don't know a lot of copperplate stuff. So is copperplate your favorite, or is there any other kind of mediums that you've tried along the way to get you to there?
Yeah, I've tried Spencerian a couple years ago.
What is that? Wait,
oh, sorry.
I don't know.
Spencer, I'm trying to see if I have an example. It's a style of handwriting type calligraphy. So it was developed by Platt Rogers Spencer in America. So it's like a specific like American style of handwriting, but then you can also pair it with these like extremely flourished capitals. So then it becomes like calligraphy.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of borders that line between handwriting and calligraphy. There are a lot of different styles I want to learn, but I keep seeing where I need improvement in copperplate, and I just haven't been able to like break myself away.
Yeah, I see on your posts a lot that you keep saying it's all about going really, really slow, and that you want somebody wants to go really fast, and also I saw another one of your posts that was like, you don't have to have good handwriting to be good at lettering, and I'm a really good example of that. I have really bad handwriting, and I go so fast when I'm trying to write something, but when I do lettering, it's very slow, like you said. So I thought those were really good tips.
Yeah, you have to be really slow and conscientious of, the shades and the hairlines, and is it on the slant, and,
Yeah, it's a whole different world than painting on canvas or murals. Man, there's so much to lettering, and whenever I first started my full-time art career, like 6 years ago or so, lettering was like a specialty of mine that I did for an outdoors company that I did. And even so, like I was learning as I went, and there are so many things to learn about lettering that people don't realize, with just the spacing and just the thin to thick lines and just everything about it's a whole nother world. So I commend you for being so good at it. All of your posts, I'm just like, how is she doing that? That is so awesome. How do you do it? Do you have a workbook, right?
I do. I brought it out for this in case people want to know what it looks like. It's called Copperplate Calligraphy from A to Z, and it's just like intended for a beginner. So it's like from everything you need to set up your space before you even dip the pen into the ink. Everything from like just setting up to like flourishing and creating finished pieces, and things like that.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So I've gotten a book before. Before I knew about you, I think somebody gifted me a book, and it has a bunch of lines in it, basically, that you basically make a letter, and you follow the tracing of a letter, and then you make your own letters. Is that how yours is?
No, mine is more set up like a reference, but I do have traceable worksheets on my website that people can download and print off. So yeah, those are helpful for sure.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So what makes up your typical workday? How many hours do you spend doing calligraphy now that you are full-time?
I typically start off with more like admin things. So like responding to Instagram messages in the morning, or responding to comments, responding to emails. And then it hasn't, like, I don't have like a set typical day yet, but I tend to do more calligraphy at night just because I love coffee. And and when I try to do calligraphy in the morning, my hairlines are really shaky. So I try to do more calligraphy practice and then work on pieces or calligraphy videos at night. And I don't know, it's kind of been anything and everything. Like I've been getting like commissions here and there from friends. I got, a brand asked me to create a calligraphy video for their page a couple days ago, so I'm working on that. But yeah, hopefully I'll have it more like scheduled out in the future.
Yeah. Do you get most of your commissions from Instagram or from Etsy or word of mouth? Where are they coming from here recently?
Most recently Instagram. Yeah. It's been the biggest, the most helpful thing ever.
A lot of people say that too. And I mean, no coincidence that I find you on Instagram, and I love your Instagram, and it's no coincidence that you get most of your work from Instagram. It looks really great. Your branding and just, I mean, even like your personal brand that you tie in with your calligraphy, it all looks very professional. And I would have never guessed that you weren't full time. When I messaged you last week and you said that you had just made the jump into full time, I was like, what? I would have never thought. So it's just, you brand yourself really well. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, thank you.
So how do you do your videos? How, like, do you have like a camera above you, and do you have a light above you too? Or how does that setup work?
I need to improve this process. So
No, it looks great.
Thank you. I have the camera right now is set up in my little tiny tripod. It's called a Joby Gorilla Pod. I got it on Amazon. I don't know if they still sell it because it was only like $20, and like the legs, they're meant to like wrap around a tree or something.
Oh,
like,
I have one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to get something like taller so that I can like take a wider picture of what I'm doing. But yeah, right now I sit next to my window. So that's my lighting situation. I turn on like some floor lamps from Target. So I need to get better at lighting and taking video, but
I love that you just said all of that too, because it really is like, I think with almost everybody on Instagram too, whether you're big or small, it's like, it's a weird setup no matter what you do. Like, very few of us have like the professional lighting and all of that. I remember one of my first time lapses that I did of a drawing. I remember I put my phone into a stack of books, and like that way it could hold it, and because it was in face down, and I got it high enough, and I'm just like, okay, it's good to go. But I love that you shared that, because you would have never thought from your Instagram that you didn't have just a really good lighting setup and a really good like tripod that you've got. You're just like making it work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think it's very relatable too, because a lot of people put off starting even doing anything like that because they're like, I don't know where to put the camera. I don't have any equipment. And it's like, no, you just gotta make it up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's such good advice too, is like, just start. Like, don't wait till you have the perfect materials, because like even when I was, doing, like I was also like putting my phone on top of a stack of books to film videos when I was first starting to take calligraphy super seriously 4 years ago. And like that's when like I got the job for Gwyneth Paltrow doing on-site calligraphy for Goop. It's like, okay, I was literally living in a tiny little garage apartment, didn't have any like money. I was in school at UCLA, like, so just put yourself out there. Some of the best advice ever.
That's amazing. But wait, let's go back to that. How did you get that gig? Tell us about it.
That was through Instagram. So they found me on Instagram, probably thanks to like the geotagging that you can do. So they saw that I was in Los Angeles and that I was a calligrapher. And so that was a 3-week on-site calligraphy job for their holiday pop-up shop in LA. It was just kind of like a dream to be able to do that, because I got to sit in their store and like do calligraphy for people and then get to see people's reactions when they saw it. And that was just like, that was so cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is so cool too. Yeah. Because I mean, that's why we all make art, right? Is like to make people happy. And it's how lucky are we to be in a job that it's just, I mean, what we do, just it makes people smile, and people are so thankful for it, I say all the time, I'm like, electricians don't get this this validation of it, or like even the people who build the walls that I paint on, like people aren't coming by and being like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful, that's amazing, to the people who build the wall, which is maybe more important than than me painting it. But people come by, they're like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. It's just like you get like a jolt of like validation and just like positivity out of people. That's just one part of the job that is awesome.
Yeah.
So can you talk us through your process of making calligraphy or of lettering? So say somebody hires you. Say I hire you and I'm like, I would like you to design something for me. How does that process go?
So typically I like to start off with practice. So like 30 minutes at least. And then, so that's just like, I'll go through the foundational strokes, the lowercase letters, the uppercase letters, and like just get my hand warmed up. And then, usually I'll do like a thumbnail sketch or a few different thumbnail sketches of like the layout. Probably beforehand I would have discussed with them, okay, what ink color do you want? How big do you want this to be? Is it okay if it's super small? You know, like sometimes people get confused and they're like, can you make this 2 feet by 2 feet? And I'm like, well, my pen doesn't, go that wide. So, yeah, so then I lay it out on Bristol paper with just like a pencil and a ruler. And then the thing with calligraphy is that you can't erase. So like if you get to the last word and all of a sudden there's an ink blob, then you have to start over.
Oh my gosh.
So unless you can scrape it away with an X-Acto knife, which is not always possible. So I'll usually do like 2 or 3 versions before I send a client a picture and say, hey, do you like this or do you want me to redo it? So I'll do 2 or 3 versions myself first, then email them. Then if they want to change, I'll do it. And nobody usually asks for a change or more than 2. So, and then I mail it to them.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. I know nothing about this, so I'm just so intrigued by this whole thing. How do you pick a font? And like, do you have a font that you use, or do people have like specifications on something like that?
So usually people will see my style of lettering and that's what they want. So it's like that thing of, don't put out work that you don't want to do or that you can't do. They usually want my Copperplate. And another thing for people watching, if they're new to calligraphy, so font is actually that's used to describe letters in a computer system. So anything that is done by hand is you would call script or calligraphy or hand lettering or whatever it is. But yeah, so I'm trying to learn more styles, but usually they just want Copperplate.
Okay, so Copperplate is a style of handwriting, right?
Right, it's a style of calligraphy, yeah. So it's based, so it gets a little bit complicated, and I won't go too far into it because I don't know, but it's based on a style of handwriting called English roundhand that was then developed into more of a structured calligraphic style called engrosser script, which sometimes people call Copperplate. It's a really a weedy and messy area of calligraphy, but if there are people watching, they might be interested in the difference. So,
yeah. I'm trying to think of more questions to ask you, but I'm familiar with lettering, but I'm not. I'm on a beginner level. I can letter, but it's not to the level that you're at. So I'm just like trying to think of other questions that people might want to know, but I just don't know as much about this. But I'm glad we got the Copperplate thing sorted out.
Yes.
Okay. So is there anything you don't like to write without? Do you have a certain style of pen that you use?
Yeah, so I use an oblique pen holder. You can also do the same style. You can also do Copperplate with a straight holder, so where the nib just sticks out of the staff like that. But yeah, I can't do my job without this, so that's my favorite thing probably.
Very cool. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's so it's not straight. It has like a thing that comes out right on the side. Okay, so how long did it take you to get used to that, or did you just pick it up and was like, oh, this is what I've been waiting for?
It took me a little while. I would say maybe like 2 months of practice to kind of get used to it. It was because I was introduced to it in a pointed pen class in like a beginner's pointed pen class. And then 2 months later, the teacher came back to Austin and taught another workshop. And by that point, I was more comfortable with it. And now it just feels like an extension of my hand. Like I want to learn how to write with a straight holder, but I'm kind of scared. But I know I should. So.
Wow, this is just so cool. Like this whole thing. It's just, you have a tool that I've never tried, and it's just so cool. Okay, are there any art lessons you've learned the hard way? So like you mentioned how you can have like a little paint blob at the end of it, and you have to start all over. Like maybe something kind of like that.
So I have more of like a business one in mind related to calligraphy, if that's okay. So with calligraphy, you'll often get asked to write like popular words or phrases or song lyrics. I can't remember the exact date, but there's some date that you're not allowed to write song lyrics after by and get paid for in calligraphy because they're copyright by the industry or whatever, the songwriter, producer. I decided to, like very early on, I love the show Gossip Girl, and I decided to write a quote from Gossip Girl and then put it up for sale as a print on my Society 6 store. And somebody not associated with Gossip Girl sent me a cease and desist because apparently she had the rights to that short phrase. So that was kind of hard, but nobody bought anything, so I didn't have any money to return, so that was good. But that was kind of eye-opening. Like, that was my first introduction to, wow, you really can't write anything. Like, you have to make sure it's free and clear.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think we all kind of make our one big copyright mistake, and then it's like, okay, oops, sorry, and then I'll never do that again. I just recently made one, actually, and so I'm like, oh shoot, sorry, okay, I got it. And I'm like, I'll never do it again. But okay, so what can you? I feel like so many terms that we all just say, like so many people copy movies. Like my husband, he's always quoting movies and all these things. So how do you find, I guess, royalty-free things to write?
Well, usually I'm not selling what I'm writing. Usually it's just for an Instagram post. But if I'm concerned, I'll go to the U.S. trademark website and do a search and make sure that I was kind of in a hairy situation 2 weeks ago. And I found out that because I was writing the words all spaced out, that it was okay for me to use. Apparently somebody had a copyright on these 3 words all together. So that was kind of interesting. Kind of freaked me out a little bit, but I'm glad I looked it up.
Oh my gosh. I hate copyrights too. Like, I just don't like it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have a favorite quote or favorite past project that you've done?
I think my favorite piece that I've ever done was in honor of a friend. It was a Shakespeare quote, and it's the, "When he shall die, cut him out into little stars." And I did it in this spiral thing. It's in my parents' house now, but that's probably my favorite one that I'll probably never get rid of. And it has little like stars and stuff. I can't draw really well. I can doodle. So I like doodled little stars and stuff around it.
Oh, fun. Oh, that sounds super cute. Is that on your website, or you said?
It's on my Instagram. I should probably put it up on my website. But yeah.
Cute. Okay. Awesome. So what are your future art plans and goals? What's going on right now?
So right now I'm outlining an online course for people to take at their own pace. So that's my big project that I'm working on now. And then I want to start teaching more private one-on-one lessons as well for people to get other eyes on their work and get help that way. I haven't seen too much of that offered online right now, so I'm kind of wanting to help out in that way.
And you have your book and you have your classes coming out. Where can everybody find all of this? On your website? What's your website?
So my website is sarahscript.com, script.com. And so I have, you can book an appointment for an online lesson. My worksheets are there. The link to my book is there. But otherwise, I'm mostly on Instagram. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. We had one question come in here in the comments. What do you find the most challenging? He asked.
Let's see. I guess just show up for practice. I think that's like the most important thing you need to do, but it's also like the least fun part. But it's just kind of that, like, you can't improve without it. So yeah, just showing up for practice. Just getting into my desk and ink on paper and practice.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing for painting too. It's like, I mean, the end results are all amazing and like having inspiration is amazing, but like making yourself practice is like, man, why? But then you're so thankful after you did, Okay, so I have one more question on here, and then I will let you go on with your day. Is there any advice that you want to give to artists who want to make art their full-time career, but have no idea where to start? So if somebody wanted to be a calligrapher and they don't know where to start, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to start with practice daily, and don't quit your day job immediately. So I was lucky enough to, when I was working at the financial firm, to kind of have that safety net of my day job. So what I would do is wake up earlier and practice for like an hour, 2 hours before I went to work. And then I would come home and I would like make something related to calligraphy. So that was really nice. I was really lucky to have that job during that time. And just don't fly off immediately. Just like build up your skills first and then take the leap once you have enough commissions coming in.
Yeah. Great advice. I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on here. It's so nice to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful.
Good. Yeah, I'm so glad. Okay, well, your episode will air a week from today, and I'll send you a bunch of emails letting you know everything. And yeah, I just really appreciate that. You're so sweet. And yeah.
You are too.
Okay, good. All right. Well, have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
This episode is sponsored by the Mural Master Program inside of the Artist Academy Advanced membership. This program is specifically designed to help you with every step of the mural process. From coming up with an idea, to finding a wall to paint it on, to pitching your ideas to businesses, and finally, of course, I teach you exactly how to paint large scale. Murals are a lot of fun and a great way to grow your art business. I know, because it has been one of the top ways that I've been able to grow my own art business as quickly as I have. With several years of experience as a muralist, I've dialed down the painting techniques, the proposals, the pitching, the whole bit. And now I've compiled it into one resource for you called the Mural Master Program. This is included inside of the Artist Academy Advanced membership, and I would love to invite you to join us by going to artistacademy.co, that is artistacademy.co, and click the link to see the Mural Master Program and learn more. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. If you review our podcast and send a screenshot of that review to me on Instagram, I am Art by Andrea Earhart. I will gladly share your art on my Instagram story with a reach of over 60,000 as a thank you for helping us grow this Artist Academy community. And speaking of community, if you would like to be a part of our absolutely free and very encouraging community on social media, just head over to facebook.com/groups/Artist Academy, and I will see you next week.